Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime Leadership Lessons with Lisa. I'm so glad that you were able to join me today. I am excited to have you and really excited to move into what is part two of our conversation. And so as you join me here on Lunchtime Leadership Lessons with Lisa, I want to remind you that my role here is to be your 30-minute coach, educator, challenger of your comfort, supporter of your leadership goals and dreams, the person to ask you to consider the questions that you should ask, someone who hopes to inspire you to your fullest potential, and your lover of everything required to lead people through inclusion and belonging. So love that. As I said last time, I'm going to deviate from my list and I want to stay focused on the topic of innovation, because I think as you are moving forward on all of these other critical ways to be an effective leader, innovation is really important. I think when I left off talking about those business thinking versus innovative thinking as the skills and the tools to get you going, left you with the names of an author, David Magellan at Horth, Horth, and Jonathan Behar, Behar, who wrote Becoming a Leader Who Fosters Innovation. So by all means, please make sure you are finding the tools and resources that will get you to that spot. Literally, there's a video, and I know when we were talking in the last episode, I talked about one of the questions of an innovative leader is what if? And Kenneth Harmeyer wrote and does a TED Talk. For those of you who are like me, I love TED Talks. So Keith Harmeyer did a TED Talk called What If? From Inspiration to Innovation. What if? Right? And so I want to encourage all of you to take the time to go look at that TED Talk, What If? From Inspiration to Innovation. And he, is an accomplished author and writer, and his focus is on helping businesses start smart storming, he calls it, not brainstorming, but smart storming, right? And that you're looking at the game-changing process for generating bigger and better ideas. And so that he has been a speaker everywhere. But I love it. What if? From inspiration to innovation. And then on top of that, smart storming to get you going and get you motivated. All right. So when we think about innovation, there are 4 ways to innovate business. Again, I always say, grab your pen and paper, primarily because at the end of all this, there's no way for you to keep it. So you got to keep these notes. And I didn't say it in the last episode, but if you all ever have any questions or comments, or if you're looking for additional resources or support, or you want me to come share my thoughts with you, please feel free to email me at lharris1750@yahoo. Now, you need to put in your subject line, Lunchtime Leadership Lessons with Lisa, because if I don't see it, I may miss it, and I don't want you all to think I'm not paying attention. I just may not catch it unless you do that. So lharris1750, and then you're going to put in subject line question, Lunchtime Leadership Lessons with Lisa. All right, so let's talk about these 4 ways to innovate business, and some to innovate yourself. So the first one is your product innovation. So what is it about your product? Your product, either yourself, because you are a product, or an actual product that you need to innovate. I love it. I had a guest come to my house, and maybe some of you have the same thing. I bought a net that covers my door because it doesn't have, a screen, and love it, except for the most part, the bottom of it just hangs, like it doesn't sit anywhere. So I've had bees get in the house and bugs because they can come up under it. So the friend that was in the house was like, oh, I take stuff and I make it better. And I said, okay, well, if you want to make this better, put metal at the bottom of it so it will attach itself and keep bugs from coming in. So I don't get them at the top, but if they come low enough, they can slide on through. So how are you going to innovate your actual product? The next thing is How are you going to innovate a process, right? And this refers to new ways a business can deliver its products and services. So how are you going to do it differently? Heck, they got drones delivering food and resources and water and things all across the world. Amazon and other companies are testing drone deliveries. So how are you going to innovate your product? And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't have to be huge. Think about it. We went from regular mattresses to mattresses that have all of this unique foam to somebody saying, you know what? If you happen to be married, some of us like a mattress hard and some of us like it soft. Now we have Sleep Number, right? Sometimes the smallest of things to innovate are what it is. Changing lights, ladders. You know, ladders used to be one way. Now ladders go across, they go down, they get taller, they're shorter. What is it that you can actually innovate, right? Laptops used to be one thing. Now we got iPads. So how are you going to innovate the process that is going to, a product that's going to get you to this new thing, right? And what process are you going to innovate to get you there? The next thing is around marketing. What do you have to do to market the product and services to your customers? Like, what are you going to do to innovate your marketing? And this should include like new packaging. It may be a whole new campaign. It may also include price changes, right? So all of this is important. I need you to consider that you again are a product. So if you're looking for a job and you're looking for an opportunity, how are you going to market yourself differently? How are you going to tell your story in a way that's compelling? Because in the end, somebody's still deciding whether or not they're going to hire you. So if your marketing about yourself is the same thing as always been, it's time to disrupt your old thought process and do something new. I remember when I worked at a corporation, a young person sent us not just his resume. He actually sent us a pop-up of what he could do in his skills. I mean, talk about original and different. So, you know, in today's world, everything's technology. Maybe you need to send a pop-up so that people know who you are to get the point across about why you're different and how you're going to do your work differently than other people. And then the next one, which is so critical and why I love this subject of innovation, is how are you going to, what's the big picture, right? Changes that need to be made. You know, when you think about the business and the undertaking to improve performance, what is it? I mean, this could be an internal change for your organization. This could actually be a change in you. This can actually be a change that's external. How are you going to do something different for your customers and your clients, right? What are you going to do? I think about all of these organizational innovations that, you know, all these organizations now have a diversity, equity, and inclusion office. So what are they going to do differently? What are they going to do that's actually going to innovate how people value and respect, recruit and hire, retain the best and the brightest? If that is possible, then DEI can actually help you move the comfort and care of employees to a whole new level. And that's not just people who come from different ethnicities. That's everybody if we would look at organizational innovation. And imagine if we actually looked at DEI as an organizational innovation. Imagine. Whew. I had to just sit with that for a while, y'all, because the thought that somebody would see it that way, whoever that company is, if you're out there, I want to come work for you. Because I think that even as I say it, is just amazing to me. And actually, I don't want to come work for you. I want to come and lend all of this joy and expertise and fun I have around this work that I so love doing. So the next thing is effective innovation leadership has 3 essential building blocks. All right, now get the pens and the pencils. If you still have them, we're going to talk about the 3 essential building blocks for innovative leadership. Okay, the first one is around a tool set. And this tool set is a collection of tools and techniques used to generate new options, implementing them in the organization, communicating them, and creating alignment and cause for commitment. So once again, what tools and techniques do you need to generate, right? What are the new options to move forward? How are you going to get the organization to see them as useful tools to help you commit to a new opportunity? This is exciting stuff, right? Again, What's in the toolbox that's going to help you do it? Toolbox may include people. It might actually include, again, technology. It may include something you're not even expecting, right? Some of you might work in fields where technology is not necessarily common, but if you're like in facilities management, like what is a new tool? The next one, number 2, is skill sets. This is huge when you think about innovation, about skill setting people. What are the skill sets that are actually necessary for us to do what it is that we need to do? So skill set is defined as a framework that allows innovation leaders to use their knowledge and abilities to accomplish their goals. More than tools and techniques, it requires facility, practice, and mastery of the processes. So if you have the skills and the ability, now you got to look at it to upgrade them, right? How do you stretch them? How do you grow them? How do you practice with all of them, right? So we're thinking about how we're going to do this in a way that raises the skill set. And here's the thing, most of the time we don't practice, but innovation, as I said in that first episode, innovation requires practice. I said in that one, start with something simple, like how you're going to innovate in your team meetings. Because I'm going to guarantee you 9 times out of 10, if you poll people, they tell you these meetings are long, they have no value, they're not any fun, they really don't engage everybody, I'm not sure if you're making decisions, and people are walking away not sure what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to do it. So please consider as a practice to innovate your team meetings. And think about when you use that to practice, that's that practicing and the mastery of the process, right? That right there is going to be amazing for you and your team. And of course, since I so love the subject, I'm going to tell you that, but I want to hear what y'all are doing. Like, I want to know that you're out there trying to be innovative, that you're trying to push. And I noticed in some spaces and places, you all work for people where this is not their skill set. They're not comfortable, but you can find ways to innovate. Find the problem. Actually ask your leader, your supervisor, your spouses, your family, your church members, can we sit here and not brainstorm it? Remember, what are we doing? Smart storming. And by the way, just as a backup, remember there's such a thing as SMART goals, right? SMART goals. S, specific. M, measurable. A, achievable. R, realistic. T, timely. Now, some people adjust some of those, but for the most part, you're looking for specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, if you like that word better, realistic, time-oriented goals. So smart it out to get it to where you need to be. All right, the third one is mindset. So mindset is all about the attitudes and resulting behaviors that allow the tools and the skills to be effective. So in this sense, we need people's minds to be open. Like, we need them to be able to receive the new technology. What's going to happen, my dear friends, when the next form of technology that shows up in your workspace or even for your business is some form of automation that once was done by a human being? You know, today they actually have hospitals where a surgeon will do all the work that is needed to take care of surgery, but a machine will literally do the final stitching of the person, so that literally that's done. There's a piece of technology that was invented by an African-American girl whose age is 14, where it's a tool that during surgery, if the tool turns red, that shows you that there's infection in there, right? So you don't have to wait and the person come out of surgery and then they have pains. Literally, the tool will say that there's infections. There are literally organizations, again, we mentioned drones, but there is all of these, oh my gosh, like the tool that we have now, the vacuum cleaner that rolls around and picks up dirt and stuff without anyone even pushing a vacuum cleaner, right? So the things are here. We have to open up our mind and we have to be willing. So again, how do you use those tools and resources? How will they be beneficial? What will they help you do when you think about the work that has to be accomplished, right? And then how do you make sure that you're not shutting down creativity and the innovation of other people? I want to take a moment here to just reference a little bit of diversity in this subject. When I worked for a company, I ended up being the only female on this team. The team was focused on products directed at what today you would classify as heavy truckers. In the world today, heavy truckers are women and men. At that point, there weren't as many women out there. And this organization was trying to come up with a whole campaign around picking up trucks that were, on the side of the road for whatever reason it was. And again, these are all kinds of brands of 18-wheeler trucks out there. And so it's like, what are we going to do to support this trucking business and get people back on the road fast because they're delivering products and services? So they came up with this whole thing about towing and getting your truck back on. And they picked a phrase, and the 3 letters they picked form the letters EPT. If any of you are out there, you might be laughing right now because EPT in the world outside of a trucking industry at one point was famous for early pregnancy tests. Could you imagine if they had proceeded with that phrase, EPT? They would have had a trucking campaign that sounded to people in the masses about it being more about a pregnancy test. So having a female in that group to tell them, hey, I'm not sure you all did your research, but EPT in the marketplace is widely held as early pregnancy tests. This is why it's so important to have diverse perspectives in a conversation on innovation. You need to suspend your own judgment about people, their abilities, their thought processes. You don't know the full extent unless you have taken the time to get to know them and know their story. Invite in people who are dissenters. Invite in people who are disruptors. Invite in people who are really stuck in their ways and engage them, but also invite in all people who fit age, gender, sexual orientation, religion, ethnicity, all of these categories. And I know you're like, well, I can't point you out by those, but you're looking at people. Do your best, right? And invite them in for all of the diversities, invite them in, disability, invite them in. How are you going to, it shouldn't be the only conversation people with a disability can engage in is one on a disability. You're limiting their scope, right? Invite them in because they're mathematically sound, they're data-driven, they're humanly focused. They look at the world through a different lens because they have to master 2 different environments. Invite people in who are not your comfort zone, but invite it for you to learn, for you to grow, and for you to challenge yourself and challenge your team. You might actually discover those people are phenomenal and you have been judging them and putting them in a space. And now it's time for you to brainstorm that they are amazing people. And if you discover that that's not the case, you can't say you didn't give opportunity for people to come out of their shell and to try something. So I'm proud of you. Come on out that box. Figure out how to lend a hand and help people grow in the process. Under all of that, what we're looking for in this umbrella when it comes to these building blocks is we're looking for people to be heroes. You want to find ways to reward and recognize people for them to be special and unique. How about you find heroes through innovation, right? Somebody's going to come up with a bunch of great ideas. Use them, incorporate them, recognize them for it, right? They might have that special sauce in that idea. Next thing, don't reject any ideas. You keep those, you type them up, you put them in a binder or book that says ideas and innovation. When you are working on stuff, you come back to it. What might fit that didn't fit before? Or what did you miss that might be powerful? Who did you miss? What customer did you not ask? What employee did you not engage? What team member on the other side of the work do you need to ask? How do you need to innovate to be where you are and to grow? If you are a business that deals with technology today, then you have to see what's the next technology. How are people talking? People are podcasting. People are on YouTube and recording. People want to be able to have access to the stuff that we say for extended periods of time. You got to give people new tools and resources to do it. And then again, you want to have a systemic approach. I think for those of you who think about it, like what's the strategic planning sheet, right? What's your start? What's your in between? Maybe what's your goal? Or maybe you already know what the goal is and how do you work backwards, right? And maybe you can give pieces of that to people. So it's not that they have to finish it, but they do get a chance to jump in, maybe where their skill set lies or wherever they think they can do their best. The next thing I really just want to talk to you about is literally around these 5 processes where we talk about the innovation mindset. And I want you to consider, because here again is another pen and pad moment. There are 5 of these, and these are detailed. So again, you want to write them down because you won't have a second chance to get them. So this is really important. The first one is that curiosity fuels acquisition of new information. You have to be a curious leader. You need to have a curious team. If you have people on your team that are not curious, you need to talk about why they're not curious. Burnout, no one ever asked, they asked too much and never did anything with what was given to them. They never felt their ideas mattered much. Come on, this is a people business. Leadership is a people business. You got to figure out how to be a people person and go ask some questions. I'm not saying you always got to be cheery, funny, and all that, but you got to spend time with your people, or as they say, with your peeps. All right. So curiosity fuels the acquisition of new information. The next one, you want to pay attention, because paying attention shows up in 2 ways. You want to slowly look down to gather all the information that's taking place, and you want to look up so that you can power up to make sure you're putting in the information you need to. The next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are customer centric. This is not new information, right? But again, if you're paying attention, you're looking down, you're looking up, you need to look out to what your customers are doing. And you need to start thinking about how you're going to see things through their eyes. The same way we were trying to figure out how to help people on the side of the road. They didn't need an early pregnancy test. They needed a toe, right? So we want to make sure we're paying attention and seeing things through our customers' eyes. And here's the thing, that we're actually creating opportunities to adapt to existing products and services in a new environment by creating new ideas, right? Think about it. Long before there was no Twitter and Instagram, right? And FaceTime and Facebook and FaceChat. All of this stuff that didn't exist. If you wanted to exercise, you had to go to a class. Today, you now have Peloton and you got a camera and you can travel across the globe bicycling, and you can travel and take classes anywhere in the world. You can't afford it, go on YouTube and download a class, right? People are selling their classes for $6 now, where memberships at gyms, $10. Before Planet Fitness came, memberships cost a lot of money, right? So depending on where you are, there's something for everybody. What are you going to come up with as the newest innovation? Heck, think about it. That's what Shark Tank is all about. Shark Tank is that space when we think about it. It's goods and products and services creating new ideas, right? Think about it. Black women were wearing their hair permed all the time. You go to a store today, you barely find a perm. Why? Because we're either wearing our natural hair and we're flat ironing it, our hair is braided, or our hair is like mine, which is in its natural curly state with some gel. That was not on shelves 15, 20 years ago in mass because we were living with pressed and permed hair. Now we're free. New products and services. You got an idea, you got an opportunity. Shark Tank is ready for you. The world is ready for you. Your team needs you. Your organization needs you. All right, next one, because I'm so excited. We got to manage our time. The next one is affirmative judgment provides recognition and promotes a sense of accomplishment and progress. So here's the thing. Here's your great opportunity to use all this brainstorming as a way of rewarding and recognizing people. What do you have in your toolbox you can give? Do they need a pat on the back? Do they need to stand in front of their boss? What's their love language? Remember, what's the love language that gives them recognition in this work? And affirmative. We spend so much time telling people what they can't do or why that doesn't work and how it doesn't fit. How do you know? Start having a positive conversation. I'm going to go back to that last conversation we had on integrity. I mentioned things with parents. This is another moment. Our children need affirmative judgment. Heck, our spouses need affirmative judgment. Our coworkers, our pastors, leaders need affirmative judgment. Just because you got a title doesn't mean you don't need some affirmation. Come on, people. And if you hear someone always giving themselves a compliment, don't always assume it's because of their ego. Maybe no one told them that they are in the spirit of Marianne Williamson, that they are powerful beyond measure. And them not shining their light so that others can shine their light is not embracing the world. We need to give others space so that their light can shine. So come on, affirmative judgment, everybody. God didn't ask us to down people. He asked us to pick them up. Lastly, a tolerance for ambiguity. All right, y'all, here's the thing. Some people cannot handle ambiguity. Smart storming, working this out, really thinking about what you need to innovate requires that you may sit in spaces of ambiguity. You're not going to know all the answers. In fact, maybe somewhere along the line, you got to start off with a blank sheet, right? Maybe you're fortunate enough, something already exists and you can add to it. Maybe this is new and nobody's ever thought of it. I don't know who ever thought until the 14-year-old girl came along that you can turn a suture, surgical equipment into the monitor that gives you whether or not something has an infection. There is always room for ambiguity to get you to a place of having clarity. So it's all right if you don't have the answers all the time. In fact, you might actually work better. And you might tell people, put up everything you know. And then once they put it up there, now let's act like we don't know it and let's start from ground zero. That may work sometimes, it may not work in others, but you want to give yourself the chance, the opportunity to make sure that you have given everybody everything they need to ensure that they are moving forward. The one thing I also want to share, because I'm into sharing resources with you, is there is an amazing woman who is also on TED Talk. Her name is Linda Hill. Linda Hill has done some phenomenal work with companies and corporations across the US. Some of her most interesting work has been with Pixar. So I want to encourage you to go, again, write it down, to look up Linda Hill. And her title of her TED Talk is How to Manage for Collective Creativity. So even if you don't remember anything I said, there's enough in Linda Hill's presentation that is like a recap. And that you can watch over and over and over again. Again, Linda Hill, she spells it Lindahill, Linda Hill, How to Manage for Collective Creativity. It's a TEDx from Cambridge. And Professor Hill is, kind of one of those people that is the foremost notary on the subject of innovation. She is a professor of business administration at Harvard Business School, right? And so as the chair of the Leadership Initiative, she is regarded as one of the top experts on leadership and innovation. And she's the co-author of a book called Collective Genius, The Art and Practice of Leading Innovation. For those of you who really like to support Black women and like to support African Americans, Linda Hill is an African-American woman who wrote the book, Collective Genius, The Art and Practice of Leading Innovation. And again, she is at Harvard. She's received all types of top management awards and in the top 50 of thinkers in 2015. So go connect with Ms. Hill, read her book, see all the work that she's doing, read about her success. I think it's just amazing when we think about how God uses people in all of these spaces and places to do some amazing, amazing things, right, for us. So as you go and watch that, that will be most helpful. I really want you all to consider something I also think that is very important, right? I want you, again, I mentioned to think about how you use your meetings as a tool for doing this, right? I want you to also, I mentioned doing a process map, because I think that's really important to figure out what it is that you need to work on. Again, start with your own team meetings as something simple, right? You want to make sure you're using some kind of process map or grid to map out what is being said, who's actually saying it. And here's another moment of something that's really important under the umbrella of diversity. Sometimes the ideas come from people and their ideas could be brilliant, But the moment you find out that that idea came from Mary, all of a sudden the idea loses its power. So here's a tip. Ask people to write down ideas and concepts. Don't put names by them. In fact, don't let people do it verbally, just for this reason. Put them on a whiteboard, put them on a flip chart, whiteboard in Zoom, flip chart in person. No names, right? In fact, maybe you have them bring them ahead of time and they can print them out and they can stick them on the board so you don't even have to read handwriting. And then you'll let people vote on the merit of the idea, not on the merit of the individual that gave it. Because whether we like it or not, sometimes the person and the who impact our ability to be innovative. So if it comes from Mary, it can't be good, right? But that is not right. And you know how you can prove that my theory is correct? Real easy. You ever seen the show The Voice? Yes. The voice is there because if I'm looking at you, I might start to perceive something about who you are that has nothing to do with your voice. So if the voice recognizes it, and even sometimes on the cooking shows where it's like, we're not going to tell you who cooked the meal, you're just going to eat it. That Bobby Flay show where it's like they give you the meal, you don't know if Bobby cooked it or his competition. There's something, ladies and gentlemen, to the fact that sometimes the who outweighs the value of the what. So find creative and unique ways to get the who out and the what to be most important. All right, I'm going to just remind you of these few things and then we're going to wrap up innovation. And I hope this has been helpful to you. And if it has, please again, email me, lharris1750@yahoo, and put in the box, Lunchtime Leadership Lessons with Lisa, Innovation Disruptors. So you have to think about bowling pins. And I want you to visualize this. What are the pins, the things you observed about yourself that need innovation and process changes? What is an aha moment regarding how you have or have not been innovative, either your leadership or your work? And what are you going to do differently this week, this month, this year to help you and your team, you and your family, you and your volunteer organization, just you, to do better and move forward in innovation? I'm so excited that we had this time together. I really, really, really think that if you can really focus on doing some stuff around innovating self, team, organization, family, parenting, parenting your parents, whatever it is, find some creative way to give yourself the time, the space to be strategic and to really come up with those aha moments that are going to make a difference for everybody. It has been another joy hanging out with you guys. I'm so excited I get the opportunity to do this. Again, look forward to hearing from you, lharris1750@yahoo. Leadership Lessons with Lisa, Innovation and Disruptors. You be well, you be successful, you get out there and you innovate and change. And in the struggle, know that the struggle will eventually lead you to everything you need. Wishing you all the very best. Really excited for you. Look forward to talking to you soon. This was part 2 of Lunchtime Leadership Lessons with Lisa, Innovations and Disruptors. Bye-bye, everybody.